My son is 10 weeks old and he's been sleeping through the night pretty consistently for the past few weeks, so I wanted to share things that have helped us in case it helps anyone else. Now, what I will begin by saying is that every baby's different, so what's worked for us might not work for you, but here we go regardless. Two kind of core principles that are kind of baked into our approach with sleep with my son have been, first of all, thinking of sleep as like a spectrum of tiredness and trying to catch him to put him down to sleep when he's in that sweet spot. If he is undertired, he's not going to want to sleep. If he is overtired, he's also not going to want to sleep because he almost like winds himself up and can't then wind himself back down. So we try and find that middle ground where he's kind of not too tired and not too undertired. Some signs for us have been like when he has red eyebrows, if he's yawning. You can Google symptoms of a sleepy baby. That will probably help you. And this is particularly helpful, I think, if you don't want to follow a strict schedule and you want to follow your baby. Knowing that you don't want them to get overtired can be super helpful, I think. The next thing I will say is that I think of sleep less as a thing that is known innately and more as a skill to be practiced. So this is where I think having multiple naps a day really helps because my son has multiple times a day to practice falling asleep and staying asleep. On this note, we've been using the Moms on Call routines since he was like 3 weeks old, which might seem kind of young, but what I would say is that the routines flex based on the age of your child. And also what I would add to that too is that you don't have to necessarily follow these routines like to the T. If your baby's hungry, just feed them. So that's what we've been doing. We use them as like a high level structure to our day, but ultimately like things happen. He might miss a nap, he might be hungry early, and we try and kind of meet halfway between having a routine but also following his cues, if you see what I mean. I'm not going to let my child cry if he's hungry personally, but if you want to do that, you do you. On this note, I think the Moms on Call approach has such a bad rep because people think that it's letting your child cry it out and leaving them to their own devices. We have not once let my child just like stay in his crib and cry by himself. For us, we haven't had to do that. And I genuinely think that's because we started it so young. I think because we've had these routines and this approach since he was 3 weeks old, he almost doesn't know any different, which has worked out really nicely for us. On the flip side of this, I do have a friend who struggled with her kid getting to sleep when he was a little bit older. So she actually introduced these routines when he was maybe like, I want to say like maybe 6 to 9 months old. And she definitely had 2 nights where she did cry it out, and that was really difficult for her, but then her son slept super well. So for her, she said it was worth it. Take that as you will, but in our experience, I think because we started so young, it actually ended up working to our benefit that, again, he doesn't know any different. The last thing that we've done is try to have a bedtime routine that has stayed consistent. So we have done this since we brought him home, and I'll talk you through what that looks like. So bedtime begins with waking him up from his last nap of the day. We then put him in the bath, and at first he used to hate bath time, and now he thrives on it. We turn the lights down, we have a little night light in the bathroom so that it's really relaxing and zenifying. I play some classical music on my phone. I actually have like a baby soak playlist for him, so we put that on. We give him a little bubble bath, me and my husband, and he honestly loves his bath. He just sits there and he vibes and he just like listens to the music, and he could be bawling and screaming at the top of his lungs, and the moment he gets into that bath, he is thriving and living his best life. Once he's had a little bath, we make sure we clean all of his creases, all of his little fingers. We take him out, dry him off. We put his last diaper on for the day, put his pajamas on, and then I will take him to the bedroom, our bedroom right now that he's still sleeping in his snoo in our room, which as a side note, the snoo has also been super helpful. But we take him to our room and I'll sit on my bed with him with the last bottle of the day. Normally we breastfeed, so for the whole day I breastfeed, but the last feed of the day I do a bottle of breast milk. We give him that while I read to him. So I read to him out loud. I have the lights off. When he finishes his bottle, especially if he's fallen asleep, I will tend to not burp him because I've heard that if a baby falls asleep, they probably don't need to be burped. So I might lift him up lightly, kind of rub his back for like 10-15 seconds to see if he needs anything. Normally nothing happens. I will then turn on the white noise machine, lay him in the snoo, get him into his little wrap, what's it called? Swaddle. Swaddle's the word I was looking for. We'll get him into the swaddle, we'll turn the snoo on, make sure the white noise is playing, make sure the room is pitch black, I make sure that there's no light at all, and I will leave the room. Sometimes if he's still a little bit awake, I'll give him a pacifier and put it in his mouth for like a few seconds, but generally he is conked out. I used to change his diaper before putting him down, but what I found is that that would just wake him up. So we make sure that we apply a lot of Aquaphor to his bum before we put his last diaper on for the day, and then we will just let him go to sleep. Even if I hear him poop while I'm feeding him, I will just leave him, because my new thing as a parent, I don't know if anyone else finds this, is if he's happy, I'm happy. If he's not fussing, it's all good. Obviously, if he was awake, I would definitely change him, but because it's the end of the day and I want him to relax, I won't do a last diaper change. The last diaper change is following his bath. I'll put him in his bed and I'll leave the room. And broadly speaking, like now he normally sleeps from like 7:30 until like 6 or 7, which has been amazing. Now I still sometimes have to wake up to pump, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Breastfeeding life. But it's just so nice to have him sleeping for like a good chunk of the night, if you see what I mean. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. This is just how we're doing it, and it's been working really well for us. And I would say that with that nighttime routine, regardless of which routine in Moms on Call we've been on, we've made sure that that last bit of the day looks like that. I basically want a bath to be a signal to him that it's time to relax and go to bed. That's what we've been doing. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.